All right, so let's discuss about the policies now. So in the policies, we do have two different policies, that is for the control policy and the data policy. So control policy, which will affect the control plane, data policy will which affect the data plane. So if I come back here, so control policy will affect if you are creating any rule on the saying to vSmart, hey vSmart, I don't want 10.1.1.network to be seen by branch 4. So that is known as a control plane. But if you are defining a rule saying that whenever the branch 1, VPN 1 wants to visit to, so this one will be branch 1 and wants to go to branch 4 VPN 1. So I can say that whenever they want to go, they have to go via a particular color, maybe ISP or MPLS. So I can say that preferences should be given to the ISP and the backup should be MPLS. So this is how the rules will be defined. So now once I define, the data plane will be first preferring to the ISP. If ISP is down, then it will prefer to the MPLS. But for the by default, I think it will be preferring the ISP, not the MPLS, or might be the MPLS. So let's go ahead and explore more options over there. Again, in the policies, when we have the control policies and the data policies, in both of them, you do have the centralized policy as well as the localized policy. Now, the difference between the centralized policy is that centralized policy means it will be pushed to vSmart, and vSmart will make sure that the whole network is affected. All network will be affected in the centralized. But with the localized, you are just affecting a particular branch. Now, for example, if I have a branch 4, this is located in Hobart. And in the same region, again, I do have a branch 5. And they also have the communication running. And I have the private prefixes. Now, I want to create a rule which should not affect the whole network, but I want to only affect these two branches. And those are located into particular site, maybe site number 5 or site number 6. So what I can use it, I can use a localized policy. So when I use a local policy, I will just select the scope of this policy as these two devices, these two branches, and whatever I configure on those policies, it will be only affected on branch 4 and branch 5. But the control policy, it will be affecting all your network. So you have to be careful while configuring the centralized policy. So if anything happens with the localized policy, it will the effect will be very much less because it will be only affecting branch 1 or 2 branches maximum, or maybe 3 or 4, depending. But if you have any issues with the centralized policy, then the whole network will be affected. So that will create a chaos here. So you have to be careful while configuring that one. Okay. Now, data policy, again, control and policy, both of them are the same. Now, control policy is equivalent to the protocol policy. So if you know that protocol like BGP, OSPF, and we do some kind of filtering, so you can refer that control policy to those kind of things. And with the data policies, you can refer to that ACL, maybe the next generation rules, firewall rules, or control policy rules. So you can refer to those with the data policy. So that's only much with the centralized policy and the localized policy. But the only thing you need to be careful is that whenever you're configuring the centralized policy, it will be pushed to the vSmart and it will affect to the whole network. So this is the main thing you need to understand here. So whenever you're defining the centralized policy, you have to keep in the mind there should be a scope that, okay, whenever I'm configuring this policy, that means it will be affected to each and every device on your network. But when I'm configuring into the localized, so it will be only affected to the local network. So that's it with the theory of the policies. Let's go ahead and do the practical now. I hope you have enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.